1, we welcome Matt Mace from the Second Wars. They quickly left Stinger sore, promptly pitted Weedy Wacko, and then went on to Slay's suicidal tendencies in the heat final. We had Thrill-A-Lot from Sir Kill-A-Lot, reminding would-be contenders the price they pay for failure. In Heat 2, the Behemoth boys were back with a much improved lifting shovel, quickly bulldozing their opponents. But they didn't reckon on meeting Pitbull, let off the leash and barking mad, setting its opponents on fire too. The two met in the Heat final, where Behemoth fell prey to the arena's spikes, and Pitbull found itself a place in the semi-finals. Great to see Razor back in Heat 3 looking better than ever. Its powerful crushing ram churning out 9 tons of squeeze ability and wreaking havoc amongst its fellow competitors. But a failure in its self-righting mechanism left it sitting high and dry. Agrabot limped through, but Blade came from nowhere in the Heat final to snatch victory. And then Dead Metal took the opportunity to wipe the smile off Agrabot's face. Characters galore in Heat 4. The Sir Chromalot team arrived in style, all suited and booted. They talked the talk but couldn't walk the walk and fell prey to the Big Brother team, led by little Joe Watts. Ultor came face to face with Big Brother in round 3 and won after a judge's decision. But then this happened.
The judge's decision was wrong, in our opinion, and we're allowing you to go through to the next round.
The story of Heat 5, David and Goliath. The role of David, played by Chaos 2. Goliath, first Crocodilotron, then from Hagley High School, Sonic, and finally Roger Plant's Big Cheese. We thought it would be Gorgonzola for Chaos 2, but as quick as a flash was cheese on toast. Only one tail to tell in Heat 6, that the fall from base by the infamous Mortis. It looked unstoppable against Ming, who lost their weapon early on, and with that, any chance of victory. But the death knell tolled for Mortis as Gravedigger defeated a Dark Destroyer, and then set those Mortis boys 6 feet under and out of the competition. David Crosby, Claire Greenaway, Vicky Allgood return in Heat 7 with Napalm. Unchecked from the Second War, stay straight to the first round on a judge's decision. Halucky breaking the second after Robo Pig made a Pig's ear hit, and although Robo Pig had belly up, they did manage to get Sir Kill-A-Lot rather hot under the collar. Just as Napalm could smell victory, Stegosaurus proved that Noddle Dinosaur Rixie, they came a crashing out of nowhere, a smashing and a bashing, and eventually a thrashing Napalm. Heat. It was H's all the way for Hypnosis, Harold, Harry, and Camilla Bresh to pick up the pieces. Without doubt, one of the most destructive robots ever seen in the history of Robot Wars, deservedly winning a place in the series semi-finals. Now, more Heat highlights in a moment, but which was the battle of the series? Here's a metal crunching contest for you to enter. The prize, you and a friend win the chance to come to the Robot Wars studio. All expenses paid with an Access All Areas pass to meet the presenters, and you can operate in Heat 9. The Eyes had it with the Roadblock team, winners of the first wars, returning this year with a beast of Bodmin, dark and menacing. It also had a twinkle in its eye for Philippa, and whilst the Witch had the House Robots under its spell, the boys from Cornwall won a place in their 3rd successive semi-final, leaving Invertebrate at the mercy of Dead Metal. Centurion and Excalibur set the standard in the first round of our 10th heat as the axes came crashing down. But our Furion legend, no match for Roman Brawn, and Centurion came, saw and conquered. But 101, built for under a fiver, soon proved that money was no match for good engineering. The Heat final saw a grudge match against King Buxton. They'd met before in the last wars. Buxton was the victor, but this time they had to go down on bended knee and beg for mercy. 101 came away with a right royal victory. Heat 11 saw the reigning champions Panic Attack return to defend their title. First, they faced Axios, who looked impressive, but even a flip of their snake-like tongue couldn't help them slither out of that one. Toe Cutter promised all of the auditions. No match, though, for Panic Attack in the Robot Wars arena, and it was toe-nailed. Exterminator met our champions in the Heat final, but when their gas canister blew, they were terminated, and Panic Attack knew they'd be back for the semis. Panzer met The Undertaker in Heat 12. It was Tank versus Plank. 2 short minutes later, Panzer was through. Triterabot was all smoke and no fire against the Evil Weevil. Flip-Flop Fly flew fast into the arms of the House Robots. Sadly, Challenger didn't live up to its name and Panzer was through to the 3rd round. But there, they didn't get off the mark. Evil Weevil earned that coveted semi-final place. Panzer was hung out to dry. Heat the team unlucky the size. Cassius was back bigger and better than ever before, quickly seeing off any early threats and taking time to have a swap of the House Robot. It took a snap of Matilda's heels and shunt the hump. We were kept on the edge of our seats by Cassius 2's agility, its awesome weapons, but then Rex and his team threw it all away. Cassius 2 had promised so much more than we ever saw. In the meantime, Scudder's Revenge brought Thermidor to Pussycat in the 3rd round, but then their little steel blade had disqualification for the Cat. Scudder's Revenge aiming their place in the semis. Heat 14 saw the early demise of the Kamikaze Kilohertz. A veteran of Robot Wars, they claim they didn't see the pit. A likely stall. Cerberus quickly dispatched Griffin into oblivion, but then the Addams family thing sent the devilish dog back to the gates of Hades. Penultimate heat, hot stuff in more ways than one. Dottie, your son Nemesis, took the sting out of Dee Barker's robot. Facet had a flipping good time with terminal ferocity, but was no match for the fighty Firestorm, who grew fast on its feet, full of fury. And in the heat final, Firestorm fanned the flames of victory and sent Dottie out in a blaze of glory. And in the last qualifying heat, Stride shone through. Psycho Killer got toasted and roasted. Victor 2 said boo. And Dreadnought ran out of steam. Trident tested. Trident through. Now back to our competition and your chance to tell us your favourite moment of Metal Lash Mayhem from this series from the 3 battles you've chosen. So far, we've seen Hypnodisc against Robogeddon. Next up is Battle B, Big Cheese against Chaos 2. Call 09001. In our first semi-final, it was all over in a flash for Trident, and Maze 2 was left to rue as Chaos 2 sailed through. Pitbull rolled over to have its tummy tickled by Firestorm and then got seriously hot under its doggy collar. Panic Attack had plenty of those. Panic, Fear, the odd tear. Its hopes of a place in the final turned to ashes by the fire. In Semi-2, after a titanic struggle, Hypnodisc gave the old 1-2 to 101 and left Evil Weevil battered, torn, flayed, frayed and slain. Stegosaurus proved no Diplo Joker as it put the final nail in the coffin for Gravedigger and followed that up with one in the eye for the mythical beast of Bodmin. So after 124 battles, we now have our 4 grand